Hey everybody, it's Pixel, and this is gonna be a short, unscripted video. I had a script and everything. I was working on a tier list for all the new items. I was gonna, I was having a lot of fun the first day. As you can imagine, a lot of the issues started to pile up, and I don't think, as a game developer myself, I can realistically make more content, to put it bluntly, for the game, because it's a mess. It's a mess right now. The whole game's a mess, not even just the DLC, which I think is the worst part, but we'll get back to that later. For those who don't know, Gearbox on August 27th released the Seekers of the Storm DLC for Risk of Rain. Came out buggy, that's fine. We kind of expected it to be buggy. We expected it to be a little different. I'm sure a lot of people expected it to maybe not be the best, but could potentially be fixed with updates because they can't mess up Risk of Rain, right? Right? But unfortunately they can. And they really mess it up, especially the console version, which, oh my god, how? But the long and short of it is that the game is kind of in a very poor state right now. There are a ton of bugs, a ton of things are linked to your frame rate for some reason, which I feel like I feel like anyone should know. You don't do that. You don't link things to the frame rate of the game. You have it in a separate update, whatever. I don't want to nerd out too much, but just know it's a bad thing. Essentially, the higher your frame rate, the faster things go in the game, and that causes a lot of problems because it also works for bosses. Bosses attack faster, hit harder because of their frame rate, and that's just insane. And that's just part of the base game now. This isn't even like DLC only. This is part of the base game now. We're going to have to just live with this until they change it, or go through the convoluted process of down patching it, which I haven't done. I don't really plan on it at this point. I'm kind of risk of rained out at this point, if I'm being perfectly honest. So from what I can remember, the reason this happened is because Gearbox spent like a year trying to get parity between the console and the PC versions. But as we all know, the console version of Risk of Rain fucking sucks. Pardon my language, but it sucks. It was not programmed well, it had a ton of bugs, and what happened now is that they basically just transferred all the console bugs to PC, and then they made the console version unplayable. I don't know how do you do that? How does that happen? Whatever. I don't want to get too mad about it. I don't want to get too heated about it, because I've already had a long rant with my friends about it. But I'll just say this. If the DLC was just the new stages, the new survivors, and the new items, no, if it was completely bugless, you know what? If it was just new stages, new survivors, new skins, and they sold it for like $8, this is like a solid 8 out of 10 DLC. If it was just stages, survivors, skins, that's not a lot. Well, I mean, to be fair, the new stages are pretty huge, but the items don't feel like Risk of Rain items. The items feel like someone who has passing knowledge of Risk of Rain making items for the game. That's the best way to explain it, I think, right? They added one new item, I think like Sonorous Whisper or something, where you get so many free items just from killing enemies. And I'm sure a lot of dedicated Risk of Rain players are just not going to pick it up or going to remove it from the game entirely because of how strong it is and how easy it is to just farm it up. Because I've gotten it like once. I had one stack, and I was getting like 3 chests worth. I was getting like 3, 4, 5 chests worth of items in a single stage. It was nuts. And a lot of them are greens too. I'm pretty sure it's basically just a regular chest worth of loot. So like the 80% chance for it to be a white, 20% chance for it to be a green, 1% chance to be a red, or whatever it is. That's nuts, man. It honestly just makes me sad. Honest, because Gearbox really is shitting the bed on their first major release with the game. I think the trust is. I mean, people were already wary of Gearbox having the IP for Risk of Rain. I was cautiously optimistic because I thought there was no way you could mess up Risk of Rain that bad. But apparently I was wrong. Maybe we'll get maybe they'll reverse the last patch, but I honestly don't think so. Oh, you know what? No, I don't think they will. You know why? Because just today, August 30th, they were at PAX, and they were talking about Risk of Rain, and they had some poor intern on stage for the first time telling you to buy the game. Even though they said that they care about your feedback, if they really cared about the feedback, they would not be selling this game right now. And obviously, I don't think the blame is entirely on Gearbox. It's also on Take-Two, who owns Gearbox. But, you know, Gearbox made the game. Gearbox shat the bed, unfortunately. And I really hope Hapu and, you know, Gore and Paul and everyone else at Hapu are doing okay. I hope they're not getting too much harassment and hate for this, because this really isn't their fault at all. I'm sure a lot of people could be blaming them for the outcomes of what happened with the game, but leave the indie devs alone, man. Because realistically, this is the worst case scenario for what should happen, where you sell your IP to a bigger company so you can continue making games that you love, and then the game that you made can continue to get updates and support for as long as possible. But unfortunately, I don't think Gearbox really handled this well at all. So unfortunately, I think we're gonna have a long wait before Risk of Rain is truly playable again. But yeah, don't buy the DLC. If you can help it, don't even update the game, honestly. Yeah, that's it.